Welcome back, you Jundar journeymen, to another day of Let's Playing. Actually, it's not another day. Would you believe it? It's the same day of Let's Playing. We're picking up where we left off, where we decided to get into a fight with this guy, and after the game decided to not play fairly, and we got two characters frozen doomed, we immediately died. So here we are back again. A couple things happened differently on the in-between, but none of it is important. Allow me, of course, to introduce myself as Chezni, the host that fails the most. I hope you can kick back and enjoy a little bit of fun as we travel around in the world of Aidyn. Again, today, or tomorrow, or the same day, whenever you're watching this video. I will not judge. Alright, so in an attempt to avoid the glitchy defeat that we suffered at the hands of the Chaos Lieutenant, or, yeah, I think that's a Lieutenant? Yeah, Chaos Lieutenant last time. Let's just focus fire this Lieutenant and get him off the field as soon as possible. Critical hit is always a nice way to start that off. It does indeed appear that these are just simply the same Chaos Lieutenants and Slayers eventually when they enter the field. Same Chaos Lieutenants and Slayers that thwarted our passage to Talawalk way back in the day. It does not appear that they were specifically stronger, or they didn't have a different name or anything like that. It's just that, believe it or not, since our departure to Chaos Island and our present existence in Ugarit, we have become quite a bit stronger along our adventure. More resistance to spells, more HP, and more ability to dish out damage. Although if memory serves correctly, that fight on the Talawalk Bridge had two lieutenants who immediately debilitated and then started frozen dooming everyone. Frozen doom now going to be off the table as the lieutenant falls. No more glitchy, half-frozen party victories for you, Chaos minions of the day. Take a step back and check yourself. It is kind of amazing how quickly we dispatched the warriors, an enemy who perhaps never dealt the largest amount of damage, but certainly an enemy that was very durable in the early parts of the game. Very hard to hit. In a way, I always look fondly back on those moments when you have a party of fledglings, all of them scurrying around, trying desperately to do something useful in a fight. Let's see if we can get some stats on the... let's do the Chaos Warriors. These guys are only level 10. 18 protection. 90 HP. 90 HP is very high for a level 10 enemy. Comparatively speaking, we've found enemies that were like level 13 that only had 80. And some level 20 enemies only have about 100. They gummed up the works and prevented Bretta from running around behind the Slayer here. Oh, sorry, that's a Mauler. I'm not sure the difference. Perhaps we shall find out. Well, Maulers appear to have an axe. That seems to be a blood axe. That was the graphic that Beckon used. No, wait a minute. What am I talking about? We never had Beckon with a blood axe, did we? No, we did. That was his main go-to. It was a different axe we were going to give him. Something fancier. Unfortunately, his hands will never grasp the hilt. Yes, clearly it was the hatchet. No. Yeah, the Lizard King axe. That's what we were going to give him. Pity. No one on our team except Alaron knows Hafted. Perhaps we should equip it to Alaron just to see what the graphic looks like. I think we'll do that. So we have Stormers here. Stormers known for casting lightning instead of Earth Smite. Our high willpower coupled with their low level casting of the spell means that we don't have to be too terribly afraid here. Let's get the stats on the Stormer. Follower, 87 HP, 12 level, 16 protection. It doesn't seem we're I'm starting to notice trends here, and we're getting information from the enemies, but not a lot of concrete facts. The levels aren't terribly useful, because at this point we already know the relative strength of all the enemies. So early on, I could see knowing the level of your enemy would be useful, because that way you could identify if something was dangerous or not. But now, at this point of the game, level isn't very useful. Follower and leader is an interesting stat, but again, not terribly useful. I think more than not, Sense Aura is the most useful when it's revealing weaknesses or resistances of an enemy. Knowing the enemy's protection and HP is interesting, but HP can be reverse engineered simply by looking at the relative amount of life bar an enemy has after hitting them. So while we wouldn't really be able to get quite an exact number, we already know kind of relatively what the HP of all the enemies were. Now, I said we were going to swap Alaron over to the Lizard King axe, but I don't think his turn has come around. This is amazing. It's just been the Brenna and Rita show. Not really sure why. You don't suppose they got frozen again, do you? I mean, like, Gondrick and Alaron just didn't take their turn there at the end for a very long time. Was that perhaps why we lost the game earlier? Wait, did Alaron even take a single turn in that combat? I don't think he did. Did Godric? Huh. Is that fight scripted to start out with Alaron out of commission? Perhaps that's not a glitch. Sorry, I know this is sort of strange to just come to this revelation now, but yeah, I can't remember Alaron taking a turn in that fight. Huh. Wait, so maybe Gondrick did get frozen doomed when we died. Maybe it wasn't glitchy at all. I suppose video evidence will prove or disprove my innocence there. I should go back and look at it. Anyway, we're going to give Rita 10 in pole. She is now a mighty warrior. Eventually we'll give her 10 in thief, probably. Oh, Alaron. I suppose you can continue to walk the path of, let's give him a high control elemental spell. We have yet to control an elemental. Godric still needs to work on his fundamentals. Oh, right, you know what? I don't know what I'm doing spending this EXP. We were supposed to be saving it so that we could take advantage of the Jundar trainers. Here I am spending EXP like a fool. Oh gosh, there's Jundar, I bet. Or Ugarit, sorry. Should we go out and get into, like, a single fight? Yeah. Let's get into a single fight so we have at least a little bit of EXP to spend on just obtaining at least a level 1 version of a spell if we need it. Although at this point, don't we know just kind of all of the naming spells? So I don't know if Rita will even have anything that she needs to learn. That's probably not true. I'm sure there's something out there that we don't have. Or maybe Alaron knows a naming spell that Rita doesn't. Teleportation. Yeah, I don't think Rita knows banishing. But is that it? Are those all the naming spells in the game? Just these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Just those 7? If so, I mean, that's pretty low. I'm assuming that Rita has 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. All but banishing. How many elemental? There are way more elemental spells, it feels like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10? 10 versus 7. I suppose we could be missing some of the spells, but we don't know a single Starlight spell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 necromancy spells. Who can you get on your team that casts necromancy with, aside from Alaron? That's kind of interesting when you stop and think about it. I don't think we've even met someone who could learn necromancy. Godric sure can't. Is Alaron the only necromancer in the game? Oh well. Let's find another monster, because now that I think about it, I mean, Alaron has no Starlight magic at all. Just period. None. We're 50 hours into the game, and there's an entire school of magic that we literally have had no exposure to as far as being able to learn the spells. Of course, when we actually want to fight, we run into monsters, or rather battles with only one monster in them. The irony is so thick. Alright, if Alaron's turn rolls around here, we'll go ahead and equip the Lizard King axe to him, just to get an eyeball on what it is. It's not how normal people talk, is it? An eyeball on what it is. You do not have the minimum. Oh, well, okay, guess not. Need 22 strength, can't do it. It shall forever be a mystery. Ah, that's 6 HP critical hit. I guess Alaron could just throw things at that salamander until it dies. Oh, gosh darn it. I meant to check how much EXP he had. That's okay. I feel like if we get into one big battle, we'll be... Okay, wait. Is that a ladder, or is that just a seam in the polygons? That's just a seam in the polygons. So it does appear that Jundar at least has some kind of water source here. Or, I keep calling it Jundar. Ugarit. Although now that I think about it, that wasn't the entrance back there, was it? To Ugarit. That was just the... like a drainage. Let's take a look. "5,000 years later." Eventually, one day, we will get there. Okay. Yeah, this is great. We can't even go there. Oh. Is this the main entry? One would assume. Let's not go there yet. Welcome to Ugarit! 'Tis a silly place. It's only a model. Nice to see that they keep the surroundings of their city relatively clear of monsters. Unlike basically every other city in Aidyn. We only found that one salamander and that one scorpion. It's also raining in Ugarit. We see a couple bushes and some greenery here. Perplexing. Perhaps remnants of what once was. Wow, that is a pretty decently sized river. Oh, is this all there was back here? Just a walkway and a view into the river? I mean, that's fine, but... Huh. It doesn't seem like we can progress. Why not? Come on. Why not just let us keep walking around? Oh well, I guess we'll walk back. One step at a time. I mean, as we groove out to this desert tune, man. It's fine, it's nighttime. Temperatures are going to drop to -30 degrees Celsius. Here we go. This is what we're looking for. Come on, be like 10 of these guys. Yes, yes, good. Alright. This will be exactly what we need to get more than enough EXP to learn any skills from trainers that we run into in Jundar. Ugarit, you know what I mean. There shouldn't be any base skills. It really should just be spells, I would imagine. And in fact, I don't really even remember there specifically being a trainer in Ugarit. I'm just assuming at this point. Mostly because, well, how else would you get the spells? Maybe you can't. Maybe the one Jundar woman who can join your team is literally all there is. The only way to get Starlight magic on your team. What Starlight spells are even out there? There's... well, we know Starlight Web. It's kind of it. I don't really know of any other Starlight magic. Oh, I thought Dragon Flames was going to do better than that. I don't know why. I was having luck with it earlier. Alright, Brennan, just finish it off. Still, though, the large scorpions drop 2,000 plus EXP, so this will be about... probably around, I don't know, 10,000 EXP. So we should be pretty set. I don't know why I'm moving Godric and Rita towards the enemy like they're gonna need to do anything. 50, wow. Yes, those are totally the noises that scorpions make, right guys? Scorpions, known grunters of the animal kingdom. Insect kingdom, whatever, same thing. Disappointing. Disappointing. Finally. Hopefully this one has the good sense to leave. If it ever gets a turn. Or it could be totally off on my math and we could get 20,000. Godric gained another level at least. We had a visitor. Otherwise, I think we're set. Let's go ahead and head into Ugarit proper. I'm kind of curious what's on the outskirts, but also at the same time don't want to have to walk all the way around, figure out that we can't get into the city that way, and then have to walk all the way back. So let's just enter straight in. So here we are, guys. The final city of the game, Ugarit. It is an impressive place. High walls, fountains, lustrous architecture. It's a pretty neat place. We need to pick a voice for the Ugarits. The... what do you call them? The Grits? The Ugars? I'm feeling Russian. I don't know why. Ugos! Visitors, friends, travelers, I am Alaron of Guernia. Let me pass. Let's go with that one.
Alaron of Guernia, it is not for you to command in Ugarit. You may turn back.
Okay, what if we tell him we're friends?
What is your token of friendship?
Our token is our journey. We've traveled far to reach the Zaratas. The Zaratas? I feel like if you're going to call him the Zaratas, the needs to be capitalized. Otherwise it seems like Zaratas is a group of people.
Zaratas sees no strangers. You should go back now.
Oh, not very friendly, are they? What if we say we're visitors?
That word means nothing to me. You must say more.
First, I will pay my respects to the Jundar Roll of Knights. I doubt they have a Roll of Knights, Alaron. Let's try it anyway.
There is no roll in Ugarit. Within this square, there is the Stone of Names, as is our custom. Go just beyond the gate. Good passage to you.
Oh wow, he actually will let us in, or rather is amenable? One of those two. If we tell him that we're visiting to see the... what did he call it? I've already forgotten. Hang on. The Stone of Names. Must be similar to the Roll of Knights. Alright, well, let's select the same... Okay, apologies for the delay. Right, so we selected visitors. We can also ask him, what more would you like to know?
You might show yourself better. Why are you so small?
The Jundar are quite a bit taller than humans. We're not small, we're humans, and this is our natural size.
Humans? How can that be? Humans are a mythical race that does not truly exist. You should go back.
So it seems the common citizen of Ugarit doesn't actually think that humans are real. We could also say that we're travelers.
I know you are travelers. The news is you have crossed the great desert and also solved the riddle of the gate. But we have also heard how trouble follows you, and we have more than enough trouble of our own. So why should you come in? Do you bring good to Ugarit or bad?
We solved the riddle, now let us pass. What is the trouble in Ugarit? We come to help the Jundar and to be helped. This is interesting because he doesn't believe that humans are real, yet for some reason he, and apparently others, know that Alaron has traveled through the desert and beaten the riddle of the gate. We could demand that we are allowed passage due to solving the riddle, but let's instead be polite and ask, what is the trouble in Ugarit?
We have observed the Jundar laws. We have obeyed the rituals and the customs of the stars, and though it was hard, we have forced ourselves to live by the restrictions of the Desert Gate. The Jundar stay in Ugarit. Not one of us has ever gone north, but even in the force of this, our wizards say that evil rises. Strangers enter Ugarit for mischief-making. Our weather turns within the hour, and some believe the desert may be growing.
The desert may be growing. Well, I hate to break it to you, Random Guard. The desert is pretty much all-consuming at this point. If it gets any bigger, it's going to cover the entire continent. And some believes the desert... okay, what strangers? The weather changes. Evil never stays the same. Either you defeat it or it grows. Yes, the shonen answer. Why don't we go with that one?
But Ugarit is the promised city. This is not Maxon.
Okay, so Maxon is a city, apparently.
And it will not be Pome.
Ah, so they know about the destruction of Pome.
That is the pledge of the guard.
I'm not evil.
Something drives you forward. Something strong, if you have come so far.
You know what happened in Pome? What is in Maxon may soon be everywhere without your help. What is Maxon? I don't even know. If Zaratas helps me, your worries will be over. That seems like a bit of a hyperbole. I don't know if Alaron can actually promise that. Anyway, I'm more curious that they know what happened in Pome and how.
Why dwell on Pome? This is a bad sign. You should go back.
Wow. So we mentioned Pome, he doesn't like it, and so he shuts us down. Let's get back into that dialogue again. We could, alright, this time let's order passage due to solving the riddle.
Solving the riddle is not enough. You should go back.
This guy should get a shirt that just says, "You should go back." Alright, let's try it again. We come to help the Jundar and to be helped.
What help do you need?
I need a favor from Zaratas. A favor that may help us both.
That's not really an answer. If you will not say what help you need, you should go back.
I'm starting to enjoy it.
You should go back.
Just constantly. All the time. Alright, so apparently asking him what is the trouble in Ugrit gives us the best continuation of the dialogue. We could ask, what strangers?
They have not been caught, but in the morning their signs are everywhere. They beat on the doors of the training houses and scrawl mysterious writings beside the stone of names.
What if it's actually just graffiti, like Joe sucks or something, but it's written in, I don't know, this mysterious mythical language known as English? Humans don't exist. They're mythical creatures. Alright, so we get the chance to say the weather changes?
At times a cold mist falls on the city. Usually it fades quickly, but it frightens the children.
Alright, so, and apparently we have to then select the last piece of dialogue. Last time we mentioned poem and he didn't like it, so we could say, what is in Maxon may soon be everywhere without your help.
No one knows what comes next. You should go back.
Alright. One more time through the dialogue tree. If Zaratas helps me, your worries will be over.
What worries are these you speak of? You should say more.
Oh my goodness, there's a whole nother tree here. Chaos is coming to Ugrid. That much is true. I can stop the desert from growing. Again, I feel like you can't promise that, Alaron. I know what destroyed Maxim. I'm gonna say chaos is coming to Ugrid, because it definitely is.
And you may be part of it.
Repeat, say it with me, my friends.
You should go back.
Alright. One more time, again, through this dialogue tree. This time let's select if Zaratas helps me, your worries will be over. Oh, Doi, that was the one that got us into this tree in the first place. Okay, so which ones didn't we choose? These top two. I know what destroyed Maxim.
You are sure?
No one can be sure. More or less, or yes. Alright, let's say yes.
And are we threatened here?
That is for Zaratas to decide.
Then you must hurry to the palace without delay. Go quickly.
Ah, that got his attention. It's kind of funny, though. I don't know if any of this dialogue actually changes anything. I mean, certainly we could just walk straight up to Zaratas anyway, right? Without getting the permission of the guard. But whatever, this is interesting information anyway. Let's say I can stop the desert from growing.
No one can do that. Not anyone. You're wasting my time, and you should go back.
Okay, so we can't claim to be able to fix the desert. He's wise enough to know that Alaron alone would not be able to fix that problem. So we have to mention that... Oh, apparently I chose the wrong one again. Too many dialogues. Right, we have to promise to help. Then we have to say, I know what destroyed Maxon. And we get these three options. So, when he says, you're sure, we can say no one can be sure.
Then go back through the desert until you know what you're talking about.
Funny enough. One more dialogue option that we haven't chosen, and then perhaps this will be the end of it. Oh gosh, I chose the wrong one again. Okay, we didn't select more or less.
You must be certain of yourself to enter the palace. Come back when you are ready.
Oh, well, he didn't tell us you should go back, at least. Alright, so that's the, our first taste of the Jundar citizenship, or should I say, I guess guards aren't really part of the citizenship. Population, we'll just say that instead. Ugarit, where your beds are in the streets, and anyone can pay you a visit while you sleep. Well, that's okay. Let's go into this tent.
This tent.
A lot of spice. It's not like we can harvest it. I'm not sure we really need it, though. Oh, no! Are we gonna have a series of empty villas again? Empty rooms? What time of day is it? You would assume that these people are night-dwelling, a night-dwelling people. But perhaps the shops don't open until the day? I don't know, time is passing, so perhaps we'll just get a feel for the city first and then check the shops again later. Man, another empty shop. Yeah, I'm hoping we just have to come back here, like, during the day or something.
We should come back.
Am I reading too much into this? But look at that archway. You know what else had an archway like that? The ruins outside of Terminor. Is it possible that those ruins were Jundar ruins? Again, I could just be reading far too much into it. What appears to be just another... Unless I'm going backwards. This seems identical to the tent before the last tent we checked. Yeah, I'm going backwards for some reason.
You should not go backwards. It's wrong way.
Oh, looks like this tent sports herbs of a natural variety and floating books. You know, some people use those little wires, those little extendable wire things to hold books. The Ugarit, they use levitation crystals. Wow, that is a lot of crystals. You know, I was kidding when I said about the levitation crystals for their books. Apparently, they were not kidding. Unfortunately, as interesting as all of this is, we have yet another empty room. We really should check all these tents again during the day. I know that feels so monotonous, but I can't stomach that all of these places are empty. They're so detailed. This appears to be a barracks or a sleeping chamber of some kind. Perhaps an inn? Or maybe... No, wait, what? Wait, what? How did we get down here? Oh. There's a hole here. Oh no, this isn't a barracks. This is a training center of some kind. I thought those ladders led up to beds, but no, just logs and such. What on earth is going on down here? We're getting some kind of weird ambient music being played over top of the Ugarit music. There's a lot of chests down here. Fascinating. A phantom cloak. A lot of gold. Gold is kind of a useless commodity at this point in the game. There's nothing to spend it on. Curing potion. Web of Starlight! Yeah! Alright. Let's teach Alaron Web of Starlight. We don't even have to feel guilty about it. No one can learn starlight magic on our team except Alaron. Awesome. So here's the thing, though. It is kind of overkill. We don't actually need Web of Starlight. It can only affect targets of human size or smaller. I wonder if that contingency exists with Wall of Bones. Target is... no. Wall of Bones seems like the superior spell. I can't believe Wall of Bones only costs an herb. That's just insane. I suppose the benefit of Web of Starlight, in spite of its restrictions, is that it probably does work on the undead, whereas I think Wall of Bones does not. Still, though, investing EXP into leveling it up would probably be a waste, considering we do have Wall of Bones, but who knows? Only time will tell if we have such a luxury. Is that another chest? Or did we already open that one? Huh. So I don't know whose shop this was, but we definitely just came down here and stole all their stuff, including their extremely rare Web of Starlight scroll. Or at least extremely rare as far as we're concerned. Perhaps it's commonplace in Ugarit. I really wish they'd stop the Ugarit music from playing while we're down here. The two songs clashing is very discordant. So if I had to guess, we saw that river around the back of Ugarit when we walked around behind it. I would assume that that river coming through the crack in the wall there is a connection to it in some way. Or a tributary, as they say, I think. What's going on here? Oh! Hey! We were right! Check it out! Now we don't have to walk all the way around. So there's like this secret entrance into Ugarit. That's so bizarre. And I'm gonna go out on a limb here, because I have no way to prove this at all. But we know that Aidyn Chronicles is a largely unfinished game, right? And the pieces that fit together kind of fit awkwardly at times. Perhaps initially, and I'm basing this off the fact that that guard had so much dialogue, but none of it seemed to matter. He wasn't actually preventing us from going into the town, even though his dialogue seemed to treat us that way. What is that crazy thing? I don't even know. Anyway, the guard's dialogue seemed to act as if we needed his permission before we were allowed into the town. But it didn't matter, we could just walk right past him without talking to him. So perhaps, in a world where that guard actually prevents you from gaining access into the city, you can then sneak into the city by coming around and taking this path through the bottom part of the caverns. Again, just speculation, there's no way to actually know. Or if it's just perhaps Aidyn Chronicles being normal, goofy Aidyn Chronicles. There's a sign down here. What does this say? No, this wait, to Araman ruled by King Saman. Perplexing. So a couple things could be happening here. Number one, this could just be a reused asset, and perhaps the asset, in whatever files they have, merely preserved the ability to read the sign and have it point towards Araman. It could also be indicative that at one point, travel between Ugarit and Araman was not uncommon. Although that could be a stretch, because again, it's probably just a reused asset that carried over the text from the signpost. But why is this down here? Why do we have the ability to come down here and find scrolls containing Ugarit knowledge, but also these just random chairs that are all pointing in this direction? They don't look like they've been placed down here to congregate. I don't know. Third, more creative explanation. this is where the youth of Ugarit all gathered to get intoxicated and have a good time. The jugs are indicative of their discarded tankers of beer, similar to the way that rascals these days discard their metal aluminum beer cans. While becoming intoxicated, a common and cliche prank is to steal a stop sign. And so they stole a sign pointing to Araman. There you go, that's the third explanation. Did I ever even give a second one? I'm not sure. Yes. First explanation, copied asset. Second explanation, traveling to Araman was normal at one point. Third explanation, what the? Why, hello there. Are you open for business, sir? A visitor from beyond the desert. How rare and wonderful. What has been happening in Ugarit lately? Your king is a good ruler, human. I hope his sons live up to his example. Do you want to make a purchase or learn a skill? Wow. So the guard was pretty stickly towards us being humans, but this guy seems to know what's up. He also sells a bunch of garbage. Like, this is literally trash. Okay, not literally, but for our purposes, even at the beginning of the game, this stuff would not be very useful. What the heck's a Tonto? And why can you only get it at this point of the game? Has a base damage of 1. We would never use a Tonto. I mean, the base hit of 70 is impressive, I'll give you that. But, like, yeah, I guess maybe we should buy it and give it to Godric so he can actually hit something, but I don't even know. Let's just buy one just because. And let's see what skills he has. Probably no magic, unfortunately. Very high thief. Very high thief. Is Rita even able to learn any of that? For 51,000. It's probably worth it. It's always much, much cheaper to train at trainers. Okay, so in spite of probably being lunar aspected, apparently these shops do only have people in them during the day. Oh, sad times. This one's still empty. Well, okay. Well, guess we'll just try checking some of the other 10s. No. It's a combination of no and wow. Yeah, it doesn't really look like it. Oops, what am I doing? I don't know why it's so easy to get turned around in this place. In spite of the fact that come in and leave at the exact same place, you'd think I'd remember. Okay, we need to go left when we exit here. No, again, a completely empty shop. In spite of it being daytime. So hang on. What if the ruins beside Terminor was the city of Maxon? And Pome just doesn't exist. Pome is a figment of everyone's imagination. It's not on the maps, we never find the ruins. Pome is a destination of the mind. That's why Shamsuk got so mad. I'm kidding, of course, but so frustrating. Well, we can start on this side of the... Some very interesting looking clothing. Armor, perhaps. Man, you can clearly see that somebody was doing a lot of work here a lot of work to set up each of these tents to be unique, probably to sell different gear specific to the design of what was inside the tent. Like this tent could very well be an armor seller. Some of those other tents could be potion sellers, or even like regent sellers. This seems more like like the tent of an arms dealer. Completely empty though. And we could play the game of, well, maybe we need to come in during the night and retry all these tents, but I don't really have much faith in it, you know? This looks like a shield salesman. It's like walking around in a ghost town. Or if you've ever played an MMO that's dead and you have the server to yourself. Oh, what's this goofy looking thing? It's some kind of green crystal. I don't know if this is a door or not. Oh, it is. Oh boy. Let's go back up. Oh, it wasn't a door, it was a stairway. Let's go back up and check and see if there's anything in here. I'm sure some diehard Aidyn Chronicles fan out there is watching this thinking like, Chezni, you fool! If you only would go into this tent and at this specific time after talking to this NPC, then you could buy the game's best weapon or something. Perhaps. The question is, do I have the patience to even test that theory? Oh my goodness, we have a citizen. Confirmed and repeat, we have a citizen. You're human here in Ugarit. We are indeed fortunate. Will there be a performance tonight? A performance? The last group of humans we had here were captured on the edge of the desert. They were bandits, I think, or nomads perhaps. Their owner had them swallow fire, dance across hot embers, and stand on their heads for hours at a time. It was a most excellent show. But tell me, where is your Jundar master, and why are you not wearing shackles? You mean the humans who visited here were enslaved? But, of course. How else would they have gained entrance to the city? Seems like the last time humans came through Ugarit, they were enslaved performers. I'm surprised a mere clerk would insult a fighter. You dare to address the squire of Grania as a slave? Let's just say I'm not a slave, innkeeper. I see. Then you were a magician from Talawak, no doubt, come to gloat over your handiwork. Now that your magic has turned the forest around us to a harsh desert. Less than an age ago, I could have stripped you of your possessions and cast you all out into the street. But now I suppose I can do no more than invite you to stay at my humble inn. Enough of your insults. Where can I find whatever, that Z-Man. I'll pay a fair price if the place is worth it. Is it really so strange to see humans in your city? We have no reason in this game to ever rest at an inn. So let's just engage in dialogue about the humans being strange in the city. From what I hear, stranger things still are happening just outside of Ugarit. Jundar, who roam the desert, bring back stories of hideous, misshapen creatures that wander the roads. At first, there were only a few such reports, but now all who leave the bounds of Ugarit return with tales of horror. No doubt it is merely some new curse that your foolish race has brought down upon the world. But enough. I am not here to banter with the lowly. If you must have rooms, then pay me quickly. 50 gold, no less. We'll just take a room for the heck of it. Enjoy my establishment, human, and leave the other patrons alone. Other patrons? Your city is empty, you fool! Alright, well. Seems the innkeeper isn't exactly happy about having humans in his, locale. He appears to see us as nothing more than dancing monkeys. Is this a Another NPC? What? Oh, I think we have here our first female Jundarian? Whatever. Once again, I've brought my questions. There are always questions. Tell me more about the Jundar. My race is a gem of many facets. Which of our many tales do you wish to hear? What caused the desert? Do the Jundar still regret their war? Who can learn the star ways? Well, let's ask her what caused the desert. The Empress's war. What causes death needlessly becomes dead itself. Remember this. Ah, well, wise words. Are you here to seek my aid? In a way. Do you have any advice? He who hesitates is lost. You think I should take the Emperor's challenge? What is he talking? The Emperor's challenge? A life without challenge is not unlike a life lost. Thank you, Shola. Oh, this is Shole, or Shola, or Shola? Let's just say Shola. No, because that would be A-H. Shola. Go wisely. This is the Jundar female that you can get to join your team. However, getting her on your team is ridiculous. Like, you have to follow a very, very precise series of events in order to even remotely get the chance to have her join your team. I want to even say, is she one where you have to go out and fight her and then she joins you, or... I don't even remember. It's something super weird. To be honest, we've probably already messed it up. That's how precise the actions you have to take. From what I remember, this is from 10 years ago, of course. Trying to remember. Actually, it's more than 10 years at this point. But the point is that if you want to get Shole on your team, the only Starlight Magician in the entire game, look it up. Just look it up. Save yourself the headache. And follow the guide's very precise actions in order to get her. You see how she talks to you as if she knows you. And Alaron also mentions the Emperor's challenge, which we haven't even been challenged yet, so things are just happening in completely the wrong order. We did encounter that as well when we ran into that Lich from earlier, who was like, he wasn't the one giving dialogue that indicated that, but Alaron said something like, I am the tamer of King Zaratas, which was quite an outlandish claim if you had never met the guy. So the order of events in Ugarit are very, very jumbled. You can do things very much out of order, and the dialogue certainly doesn't really make a lot of sense unless you do them in the correct order. I think perhaps they thought maybe people would come into the city and immediately go straight to Zaratas, because that's the reason why they were in the city, and that was the most exciting part. But, what about the inquisitive minds, the ones that want to see everything and talk to everyone, like us? Well, unfortunately, we're just going to get things very much out of order. Anyway, there was a pointless inn that we could go down into, not inn, but like the rooms down below. Let's see if Shola has anything else interesting to say. No, it doesn't even look like we have the option to choose those other dialogue boxes, so I guess that's that. Starting to look like we might just end the game with Godric. Oh my goodness, another person. Speak, apparition. May I have a word?
Welcome to our fair city, stranger. Ask me anything.
What is it like to be a guard in this ancient city?
I'd rather be a shopkeeper.
Interesting. Okay, well, it seems that these stairs are the only passage deeper into the city. Unless I missed something. I'm going to take a quick run down here to see if there was a more centralized passage that I missed. I feel like there should be a better way to get into the city proper. No. I feel like there should be an archway or something here. Well, blame it on Jundarian's architecture. hey, those symbols. Those were the same symbols in front of the gravestones, or the tombstones. So the undead wights, or the liches, or whatever they were, in that graveyard, must be Jundarian of some kind. Or perhaps they were sealed with Jundar magic. Regardless, we will take our flight of stairs here down and see what else there is in this city. Oh, a person? Do you actually sell things? Good day, fair Jundar. How strange you look at me, human. Do you find me fetching? What news is there in Ugrit, fair lady? I just sold a replica of the lost horn of God bless you. Such a shame you missed it. Do you wish to make a purchase, boy, or train? I would like to train something. Well, I mean, she's got stuff. Not like Dragon Fang is awful. But we've had about a gazillion opportunities to get all of this gear already, so... not exactly the cream of the crop here. I would assume she teaches Missile. Yep, Missile to 10. Warrior to 10. Oh, we can teach Godric. Right, I totally forgot we need to be teaching Godric this stuff. Godric can't learn Missile. He can learn Merchant, though. What did that other guy teach? Thief? Ah, crap. We need to go back and talk to him. Forgot about our old friend Godric. Well, it's going to be a bit of a walk to get there, but it'll be worth it. Kind of. Probably not. We're going to get there, and it's going to be nighttime, and he's going to be gone. Sure does rain a lot in Ugrit for it being a desert. Although it is next to a raging river. Surprisingly, though, with very, very little vegetation among the river. Look at this, there's plants in that pot. Which, that's quite an important accomplishment in this area. You know, when they're not asking you to perform like trained monkeys, the Ugrit are kind of a austere kind of people. Anyway, we were able to give Stealth and Thief to Godric. So, you know, in about 500 more battles, he'll be relatively at the strength level that we are now. It's not gonna happen. I know we were already checking these tents, but like, it's so bright out now. I keep feeling like, come on, there must be someone in here. We'll just do a quick drive-by as we walk through. I mean, it's not like it's going to take us that much more time. It's one nice thing, there's no loading times on entering into these areas. Actually, there's no loading zones in Aidyn at all. I don't know if we give that enough of enough credit, although, to be fair, it's a lot easier when you're running a game off of a cartridge, from what I understand. Trying to think if there were some... oh goodness, my hair. Trying to think if there were some console games, cartridge-based games that needed to load. I don't think there were. A bit of studying on cartridge versus CD would probably give me my answer. Because from what I understand, cartridge-based games still have RAM. But I would assume they just have access to all of the game's data at an instant, which is why there's no loading. But it also makes the games bigger, I would assume. like the size physically. Although these days we can, like when you compare a Nintendo DS game, they're so small. Is it obvious that Chezni doesn't really understand technological accomplishments from the last 20 years? Alright, good day, fair Jundar. I can teach you much, handsome foreigner. What news is there in Ugarit, fair lady? Humans are humans, but gold is also gold. Let me sell you something fine. Do you wish to make a purchase, boy, or train? I want to buy something. Battle axe, a lot of weapons. Ice stiletto? Whoa! You just casually sell something called an ice stiletto? It casts Frozen Doom. Forget the Tonto. Oh, but it makes you very weak to fire. Yeah, that's gonna be a no for me, dog. Making someone weak to fire at -50? No, thank you. As exciting as it would be to equip an ice stiletto. Oh, wait, we didn't see what she trains. Probably sword, I would imagine. Oh, what do we got? All of these people teach merchant. Nope, Godric cannot learn hafted. Can learn pole, that makes a certain amount of sense. He already knows sword. He also cannot learn shield. So Rita is actually quite unique, because you kind of take for granted the fact that Rita wears a shield, considering she's flavored as being a wizard, but I think she's the only wizard who can do that. In fact, we should really give her more points in shield. Yeah. I mean, maybe that's to offset the fact that naming magic isn't directly powerful. Is naming magic more supposed to be like clerical magic when it comes to D&D? So you're like your clerics are gonna be wearing the full heavy armor, you know, and be equipping shields and whatnot. Perhaps. Although that's one thing I do like about Aidyn Chronicles. The schools of magic and the characters, they feel unique. You don't look at a character and say, oh, well, there's your paladin archetype. Oh, there's your thief archetype. Although I guess Bren is pretty thief archetype. I should take that back. But, like, naming, like a naming wizard, that archetype doesn't exist in anything else aside from Aidyn Chronicles. You know, a Starlight wizard doesn't exist in anything but Aidyn Chronicles. Elemental wizards definitely are more of your kind of standard issue elemental mage, but I would argue that elemental wizards almost encapsulate... Well, I guess we can go behind the Declaration of Independence here. Elemental wizards are almost like your straight-up standard magician. What am I trying to say? Like in any other game, elemental magicians would be all that there would be, period. Think like Final Fantasy, where, you know, I know, there's a gazillion different kinds of magicians in Final Fantasy. There's time mages, red mages, blue mages, and all of that. But at its core, the old Final Fantasy games, you know, you only had like a black mage and a white mage. And a red mage. Shut up, I know. Good day, fair Jundar. How strangely you look at me, human. Do you find me fetching? What new... Oh, she's just saying the same thing as before. Is this the same shop? No, this is a different shop. Oh, right. The Jundar gauntlets. The Mirari had some of these. Wouldn't that add a little bit of fuel to the fire that at one point there was travel between Ugarit and Araman? I don't think we've ever found anything better than our mercenary belt. A lot of leather from this lady. Nothing we can use. Oh, gosh darn it. She probably teaches mechanic. Not that... No, just ranger. Not that Godric needs any of this, but apparently he can learn them. He can learn ranger and diplomat. Seems like everyone can learn diplomat and ranger and stealth, which is a little frustrating because really only one character in your party needs them. It would feel a little better if they restricted that a little more. That way the characters that could learn it would feel a little more unique. What the? I actually didn't expect to be teleported. I thought this was just a set piece. Let's go back. Okay. Greetings, fair Jundar. You seem surprised to see me here in Ugarit. I have always wanted to set eyes on one of your strange mortal kind. What news is there in Ugarit today? You should visit the Blind One, out in the desert, human. He has been alone for far too long. Thank you very much for your kind words. The Blind One? The Blind One? We're gonna have to log that away. The Blind One in the desert. Who could you be talking about? Is this a non-empty shop? What is that? EAF? Oh, I get it. This is one of those, what do you call it? An eye test chart. Oh, wait, we can actually read this? The Book of Spirit. What is the Spirit? The Spirit shall close this book. Alright, well, I guess we'll ask the book, what is the Spirit? And so we discovered that others has this other. I think that should be have. So we discovered that others have this other that represented them on the spirit plane. This other, the small ones have them. Oh, wait a minute, hang on. Let's do a little bit of interpretation here. The other is obviously the spirit that is bound to mortals when they are named. The small ones is probably the Mirari. The small ones have them, the humans have them. They claim to, anyway. But we know that they do have them because of Alaron's predicament. But we seem not to have them. When necromancers communicate when those have passed on, they can communicate with the small ones, and they can communicate with the humans, but they never can communicate with our kind. Wow, the Jundars don't have spirits. In a bit of a theological sense, they might not have souls, although that's beyond the scope of this game. I think for starters, that would explain why they have access to starlight magic, why their magic developed in such a different way. It also, if I was a Jundar, I would feel almost lonely, thinking of these other races as having these souls, and, you know, the necromancers can talk to the spirits of the dead, but not your own race. It would make me feel a little empty. Good day, fair Jundar. Nice to see an unfamiliar face. What news is there in Ugarit, fair lady? You look more curious than rich. Perhaps you should try the library. Well, we are actually pretty rich, or at least rich by human standards. What? Holy what? Okay, so we get a Helm of Wisdom, which I'm not really excited about. I think our Spirit Drake helm is already way better than that. And then some exciting magic here. Okay, so we already know Acid Bolt. We already know Brilliance. Unfortunately, no one else can learn Control Zombie. Not as exciting as I was hoping. I guess no one but Alaron can learn these spells, but Solar Wrath, what the heck is this? Allows a character of the Star School to learn the aura of Solar Wrath spell. That sounds exciting. Let's teach that to Alaron and see what the heck it is. Here we go. Solar Wrath. Sounds fun. Penalizes enemy morale, 1 per rank. Wait, why is there another symbol next to it? Is that... It's the lunar aspect symbol. What? Why would a spell called Solar Wrath have the lunar aspect symbol next to it? I don't know. Anyway, all it does is reduce morale. So I guess it would make the enemy more likely to flee. which is still a cool concept. I like it. It's like akin to the fear spells, you know, in D&D. It's neat. I don't know if we'll ever use it, but still. I wonder if she has any useful skills. Okay, Lore Master. We will have Godric train up to level 3 in Wizard. I wish her training in Wizard was higher. It's actually quite low compared to most of the other characters skill trainers we've encountered. They've been up in the 8, the 9, the 10, but this Wizard is criminally low. She doesn't teach spells either, so I guess all we got out of that was a level 1 one level increase on Godric. And a low level at that. The low levels are less meaningful when you don't train them at trainers, because comparatively, you're not getting as much from them. Oh, we should go back and read the other books that we probably missed. Okay, so this is clearly written backwards. For myself, O fortunate wayfarer, the treasures of Jundar learning are laid out before you. We have quickly ask brother why. Treasures of Jundar learning are laid out before us. So did our spirit write this book? For myself was the title. Well, I suppose we'll just go down the list here quickly. Maxon. What? Oh, Maxon of Sorcerer. Alright, let's try to. I think we have to start at the end and read backwards. You must find the lost sorcerer of Maxon. We still have no confirmation on what Maxon is. He will give you the knowledge you need to bring about our reunion. My hunger grows very great. Why have you not joined me yet? Ominous. So, our spirit is telling us to go to the... What did he say? He will give you... Okay. You must find the scholar... the lost sorcerer of Maxon. So we need to find the lost sorcerer of Maxon. Perhaps that was the blind one in the desert? Betrayal in the Darkling Hills. Oh, fortunate wayfarer. The treasures of Jundar learning are laid out before you. Oh, apparently all their books just start out that way. A mysterious turn of events. This seems to be the way in the battle. What? This seems to be the way in a great battle. For us, the historians, there are many diagrams and landscapes, but few records of the Jundar who actually did the fighting on those Darkling Hills. Written across one side of the great map is the name of Zaratas, and across the other is written Lear. Ah, so Lear was the king that fought against Zaratas. However, it says a mysterious turn of events where they don't actually know who did the fighting in Darkling Hills? I don't know. The great creature. There's also a stunning illustration across 2 folded pages of a huge bright red creature, a sort of gigantic winged serpent. A lizard-like serpent with wings? Perhaps a dragon? Perhaps the bones of the dragon that we found in the middle of the desert? The creature is hovering above the ground. Its face is expressive of wonder and fascination. Interesting, so it's not necessarily aggressive. The small figure, no doubt the creature appeared awesome to these primitive humans. It seems to be looking down at a small human-like figure standing on a hill and cowering as humans are wont to appear. Looking closer, we discern a small relic in this human's hand, a golden horn. The human appears ready to press the treasure to its lips. So it appears... I know this is all in text, but apparently this is some sort of picture. A map, if I'm seems to be the way it... This is so worded so weirdly. This seems to be the way. Oh, I think... Yeah, okay. So I think what this is supposed to be is this is supposed to be a diagram or a picture of some kind. What do you call them? Something like the tapestries, but I know there's a different word for it. Doesn't matter. A depiction of events. So, but apparently its origin is that of humans. So there are all these notes in this book analyzing this human depiction of the fight at Darkling Hills. Which is interesting because apparently they were hills back in the day of Zaratus and King Lear. The plaintive scrawl. Examine this even more closely, for it has puzzled Jundar scribes for generations. This is the mysterious human word which appears beneath the picture. It is written a single word. Although it may signify more, in cramped and anguished writing. The grammar is so bad. The word is why. Whether this is the cry of Jundar warrior or some unanswered question from the forces of the human world is unknown. However, I don't know. I don't know why Y is written there. The 7 keys. As he was turning to another one of his captions, Lugash muttered, I feel like we've heard the name Lugash before. Lugash muttered, Lo, and when I build my temple there will be but 7 keys to my door. Each of the 7 will be held by a captain, and no captain will hold but more than one. In that manner none of those who have persuaded all 7 of my captains will gain entry. Once the captain has been persuaded, shouldn't it be captains? He must surrender his key. In this manner none but one will be able to persuade him, and only one will gather all 7 keys. But to gain entrance to my house, all 7 of the keys must be returned. Be returned, yes, they should be returned to those who gave the captains the keys in the first place. Good gravy golly. 7 keys, huh? That might be talking about... Come to think of it, weren't there about 7 tombs that we found at that strange place in the desert? Perhaps that's what that is alluding to. The exploits of Zaratus. O fortunate wayfarer, the treasures of Jundar learning are laid before you. The first days. In the first days of the first age, in the first city of Sorhab. Oh, that's a name we should know. I don't remember why. I know we've seen Sorhab before. Zaratus the wise heard voices in his head. These voices instructed Zaratus the insightful to close the door of comfort and open the door of penance. So Zaratus the mighty cut living wood from living tree. Oh, that's just supposed to be so Zaratus the mighty. It's just there's not a space there. So Zaratus the mighty cut living wood from living tree, and from this wood fashioned a small raft. Zaratus the brave. Then did Zaratus the brave cast himself into the ocean and floated for 60 days and 59 nights. On the dawn of the 60th day, in throes of hunger from the depths of agony, Zaratus the knowing heard a great beating of wings above him. From far above him, the Crimson One was casting its regal eyes down upon him. So thought the Crimson One. This is what the Crimson One was thinking as it flew above. This one shall I pluck from the sea, and rend its soft flesh, and taste its cool blood. But Zaratus the mystical, wow, there's just so many depictions of Zaratus here. Zaratus the mystical looked into the eye of the Crimson One, and charmed it with a single glance. His strength renewed, he climbed upon it strong, but yielding back. Zaratus replies, Hear me, O Crimson One, said Zaratus the inspired. I have closed the door of penance and opened the door of conquest. Come forth with me now, and together we shall return Sorhab to enlighten the world in the ways of subjection. Oh, sorry, return to Sorhab. Sorhab must have... That was the other city, right? The other city down in the Jundar forest at the time? Perhaps? Maybe? Also, I don't know if any of you people have watched BoJack Horseman, but there's this great line where they're trying to read what is essentially bad, like a bad book, like a book that has been written poorly. And I can't remember the exact line, but it was something like, The boy woke hungry for life and also hungry ... for the taste of crumpets, or something like that. This writing reminds me of it. The kingdom we build shall never die. Peace shall forever be unbroken amongst us, and the rough voices that trouble the world shall be forever silenced. Return the book. Alright, so there's clearly some sort of biblical overtones to the way that one was written. Depicting Zarathus as having sailed out into the sea on a single raft and apparently meeting the dragon and charming it in a single glance. How very, what's the word? Epic. Much like the great epics of Homer or something like that. A strange old journal. Oh, yes, oh, fortunate wayfarer. Dedication. A lot of notes from various experiments I have conducted in a safe place for future generations, should the need for this knowledge ever make itself obvious to some poor rate. There is no punctuation in this. I don't even know how to read this. There's not even capital letters. Sorry, I gotta start over again because I got so lost in that word salad. A lot of notes from various experiments I have conducted in a safe place for future generations, should the need for this knowledge ever make itself obvious to some poor race in some future place or time. So I think what we can gather from that is this person is writing this in case someone needs it. I would also like to say that this work was carried out in the name of freedom, in the name of freedom and the spirit of the fellowship of all people, no matter what. All right. The spirits. Is that, do the Jundars even believe in having the spirit of fellowship of all people? Now, the question is, does people mean Jundar only, or does people mean all races? Theory. That water can be turned to sand, although the process is quite complicated and may involve the use and talents of differing magicians at different times, and remembering that these spells are especially subject to the aspects, both lunar and solar. Observations. A finer grain, white and pearled, able to be carried great distances in the wind, whereas the lunar variations brought on a black sifting, brushed by night itself. At other times, the colors form... This is just random ramblings. I despise this kind of stuff when it's in a game. And to be on the alert for complications there, another issue remains as well. This will bring the slow but steady continuation of spells after the casting has stopped. One wonders, does the sand enchant itself? If so, how? And is not, and I think it's supposed to be, and if not, why does the granulation continue beyond the wizard's control and beyond the need to go on? So as interesting as all that is, in the sense that perhaps we are getting the insight of, some scholarly debate involving sand and time and whatnot, that is just useless dribble to us. I think we already read this one. What is the spirit? Yeah, this one was interesting. I liked this one. This one was good. The other one was pretentious. Alright. Did we read all these ones, right? Pretty sure. Yeah. And yet here I am paranoidly checking them again as if I don't know that we read them. That leaves just one left, which I'm still interested in. I mean, any story is better than no story, so I guess I'll take the useless dribble, as long as you mix in a little bit of good here and there. Letters and treaties. O fortunate wayfarer. Treaty of partition. Henceforward, in repentance for their barbarities, no Jundar heir shall venture beyond the bounds of the southern rainforest. Interesting. This seems to be a treatise written by a human. Henceforward, in repentance for their barbarities, no Jundar heir shall venture beyond the bounds. So, the Jundar are down here not by choice. It's by the writing in this treatise. And also, I know it's minor, but it's driving me nuts. That quotation mark should be after the period. Within these lush and plentiful climes, we hope that the Jundar may find comfort enough to tame their imperialist ambitions. That's a good hope. I mean, they've at least calmed down a little bit from the however many years they've been down here. Perhaps on some glorious future day, we humans may reach a state of peaceful accord with your noble but misguided race. Interesting. I feel like that's fair. Those are fair words. They're not filled with anger. They accurately depict the persecution of humanity by the Jundar. Two great leaders. Who were the two great leaders? One was called Lugash. One was called Lodin. Lugash was a great Jundar general. Oh, okay, so wait. Lugash was a Jundar general. He was killed in the Battle of Maxim. His body was laid in the barrows to the north. Hang on. Those tombs we found were kind of in a barrow-like place. Perhaps we will find Lugash. Lodin was a human leader. He was the hero of the wars against the Jundar. His legacy is placed beneath the stone in the barrows. His legacy? Strange. They gave the Jundar the legacy of a human hero? It's kind of like a sign of trust. Like if you... I don't want to compare it to real life because I don't want to cross any incorrect political boundaries, but I feel like that would be like if two sides were warring and one side won with like a particular weapon and they gave that weapon to the losers of the war as a sign of peace, literally like burying the hatchet in these barrows. The first letter. I write to alert you to a weakness in the plain, one that threatens to overwhelm us all, even you, Shinnerak, and the mighty emperor you serve as council. That's a very old way of spelling council. All of our powers lie in jeopardy, even the star skills of those in Ugarit. It seems Rabisat may have a way to force her will upon the Jundar once again. As you know, human naming magic is a skilled art, but one that is yet to be perfected. Despite our great achievements, there are flaws. The worst is this: there is an opening. In Oisin Terminor, or Poem, a child goes unnamed. Interesting. So, Alaron is the child from Oisin. Mago is the child from oh my goodness, or Poem. That's why Shamsug burned the town down. Finally, we get the answer. Fascinating. I didn't actually expect to ever get an answer to that question. Wait a minute. Let's even go a step further here. Do you remember how there was rumors in Terminor when we were talking to people who said things like, there's a rumor that Phelan's son was born and is here? Oh my goodness. The rumor of a child going unnamed in Terminor wasn't Mago. It was Alaron. Those were the three locations that we have evidence to suggest that there was information about an unnamed child. Oisin, Terminor, and Poem. We know that Shamsuk burned down Poem because, quote, the people wouldn't help him. So he literally burned Poem down for nothing. He burned Poem down. He was just going after the Wilding based on these rumors. He didn't burn down Terminor, thank goodness. And Oisin, well, we all know how that ended up going. Alright, let's continue. You know the dangers this presents. Therefore, I request an urgent meeting with you, Shinnerak, so we can share our thoughts? I think it's supposed to say share our thoughts and form a plan. Master of the Fourth School, Shamsuk. Why didn't I read a little further? This is literally written by Shamsuk. Oh my goodness. Shamsuk pushing his agenda of locating the Wilding. He was contacting everyone about this. Alright, let's read the last letter. For several months now, I try to make you foolish Jundar aware of the danger breaking loose in the world, but your bigoted contempt for the types of magic that we humans practice have blinded you. It would seem that I have no choice but to conclude that I alone am aware of Rabisat's malign intentions. If I cannot hope to gain your assistance, then it appears I shall have to stand against her alone. I fight by cunning rather than force. I will not contact you again, Shamsuk. Wow, that sounds like the letter of a big old wine baby. Definitely Shamsuk is prone to tantrums. Now this is interesting. Again, I want to go back here and point out that he mentions that through the imbalance caused by an unnamed child, Rabisat finds a way in to push herself into the world. Just kind of a neat little bit of additional information explaining why an unnamed child grants Rabisat power. Thoughts on the lesser races? Oh boy. Introduction. I will endeavor to argue through this volume that the humans and the Mirari, while generally thought of by members of our own glorious race as no better than mere dumb beasts of the field, are in fact capable of many basic but useful tasks. Ouch. Could be taught simple functions such as the carrying of water, preparation of simple meals, carrying stone to and from designated areas. It is important to note that humans favor the simpler chores and do not seem to enjoy being overburdened with roles requiring more than a limited amount of thought or... Oh boy. Yikes. This is pretty uncomfortable to read. And the erection of rudimentary buildings that often succeed in holding out the wind. They therefore would make excellent chatels. I conclude by recommending that we, Jundar, take all convenient steps to ensure that both races multiply quickly. Alright, so it appears that the Mirari, I think they mentioned this earlier, but I'd forgotten, the Mirari were indeed enslaved by the Jundar. So yeah, I mean, they really did see the Mirari and humans as just being very unintelligent, lesser races, and unfortunately that's usually the mindset that leads to the horrible practice that is slavery. Projections. Better to serve our exalted needs. With this free and unlimited supply of workers... with this free and unlimited supply of workers, it is easy to predict a Jundar empire that will continue for any number of ages throughout the plane with no fear of opposition. Yeah, we're gonna return this book. That's uncomfortable. Beneath the barrow stones. Verse 1. Beneath the barrow stones, where once proud Lugash raged, inside the silent stones, wherein his bones are caged, where flesh of man and Jundar are all mingled in the dust, old battles are forgotten beneath the land's hard crust. So, perhaps when they said that the something of Loden was buried in the barrow, perhaps Loden himself was buried in the barrow. It says where flesh of man and Jundar all mingle in the dust. So they buried both races together, again, as kind of a sign of both unification and burying the hatchet, so to say. 'Tis there the horn lies, still, silent in beaten gold, its voice left yet unheeded, its lost tale left untold. There was a mentioning of a horn, a golden horn, in the tapestry that we were looking at. O come thou, if thou fearest not, if thou art brave to dare, and steal the sweet-voiced golden horn from fierce Lugash's lair. Well, if we're to put all the pieces together correctly, we need 7 keys? Of course, we did get that helm from, we got that helm from that one Barrow Wight. Oh my gosh, they're actually Barrow Wights. Taken straight from Tolkien. Barrow Wights. What did I say? Wights? Whatever. Anyway. That's a lot of interesting information. I love the parts of Aidyn Chronicle that give us data like that give us this much deeper understanding of the world, of things that happen beyond the scope of just your characters. That is a lot of fun. That's actually where we're going to end it for tonight. Had a lot of fun going through and reading all of that. I don't know if I ever had the patience to before, and I'd have to say it was worth it. So thank you for watching. If you liked what we're doing and want to hop over to Please Insert CD to see more of what Lepsis and I do, you can do so with the link below the video. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day, night, whatever have you, and I'll see you in the next one.